Seattle! My name is Spurlock. I am one of the lead organizers of this rally. I'm the chair of UW's Science and Policy Committee, but first and foremost, I am a graduate student. Despite the title, graduate students are not students in the traditional sense. Our time is split between our student duties and our paid academic student employee duties, with each getting at least 20 hours per week, but often many, many more. In my program, our student duties involve classes, but only for the first year, a marked difference from undergraduate students. For the other 4 to 5 years of a PhD, students will use that time to pursue their thesis research. Our employee duties involve either being a teaching assistant, a TA, or a research assistant, an RA. TAs are paid directly by the university, and they do things such as hold office hours, teach lab courses, teach quiz or discussion sections, do most if not all grading, proctor exams, field student questions, and sometimes even more. RAs, on the other hand, are paid to continue carrying out research and are able to dedicate those 20 employee hours per week towards making progress on their degree because they are paid through grants or fellowships. So essentially, a PhD student on RA gets to work as a full-time researcher while someone on TA has to split their time. As my thesis advisor likes to say, our most precious resource in research is grad student time. And this is even more true for these PhD students that are not lucky enough to work in a lab with lots of grants, or who have fellowships coming from federal agencies like the NSF, the NIH, the DOE, the DoD, and others. In slashing and freezing funding from these agencies, it has disrupted the funding for many grad students here locally and across the United States. Now, why does it matter if fewer grad students are funded? How does that affect anyone outside of academia? Well, let me tell you. Graduate student researchers are often the ones actually doing the day-to-day scientific researchers. We set up experiments, analyze data, run computations, write papers, and work with the collaborators. Without our labor, science at these academic institutions would come to a grinding halt. In withholding funding, that is exactly what the current administration is threatening to do. Because of these ridiculous cuts and freezes on research funding, my and many PhD programs across the US are also admitting fewer students. Fewer grad students who have less time on their hands to do research means that scientific progress will stagnate. Beyond the slowing of scientific progress, having fewer students in graduate programs will also lead to fewer trained scientists in the US. Graduate school programs, like master's and PhD programs, are a fundamental link in the chain of scientific research. By helping to further ongoing research and by training the next generation of scientists to push the bounds of future research, these graduate programs are essential to ensuring that we have a wide pool of new researchers ready to take on the next era of scientific progress. We are in the age of science and technology. If our country wants to keep up with the rest of the world, we must have people trained to do and keep doing this research. Now, on a bit more of a personal note, I'd like to talk about my own research for a second. So, in my lab, we synthesize novel metal chalcogenide clusters to elucidate the metal support interactions from redox non-innocent ligands during catalysis. Or, in less snooty terms, we are are looking at the steps that chemicals go through when transforming from a less desirable product to a more desirable one. And this research will ultimately provide insight for us and for other researchers in how to make these transformations faster and more cost-effective. This kind of research is what people call fundamental science research. It focuses on exploring the natural world and is not often immediately applicable to everyday life. This means that during my PhD, what I discover will most likely not directly yield any patents, develop any products, or found any startups. And because the current occupant of the White House and his billionaire buddies only view science as a vehicle by which to line their own pockets, they see this kind of fundamental research as wasteful and unnecessary. Well, I'm here to tell them that they are wrong. Fundamental science research is the foundation upon which all other applied sciences are built. Based on the groundwork laid by early discoveries in bacterial science, we have conquered diseases that once ravaged nations. Research based on the fundamental work of early physicists allows us to instantaneously communicate every day with people from all around the globe. And based upon the research of chemists long past, we managed to put a man on the moon, and now even more. This is the process of science. Breakthroughs that fuel breakthroughs that fuel more breakthroughs we may not even be able to imagine today. A society that limits the progress of science will stagnate and die, but a prosperous society is one that values this curiosity about fundamental science more than profit margins. Changing this paradigm won't happen overnight. It starts with a group of scientists coming together to advocate for federal research funding and blossoms into grassroots movements just like this one. It starts with each and every one of you watching these relentless attacks on science and deciding to take time from your day to come here and rally in support of science. It starts right here, right now, with all of you taking action. It starts with calling your representatives, filling out a postcard to tell your legislators why they should care about science, donating to Stand Up for Science for future advocacy work, or registering to vote. It starts with each person working to organize with their community or prioritize democracy in their place of work. It starts with we the people realizing that this country only works because we do. Science only works because we do. Our elected officials in DC need to be reminded that they don't hold the power. We do. Until then, when science is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back!